But I am gonna finally go through my DVD collection, and that's not even all of it. There's this whole thing, and this is just the downstairs. Yes, there is just as much upstairs. So, that will have to be a part two. That's like my daughter's collection. So, thumbs up. I need to see a lot of thumbs up if you guys really want to see that upstairs collection. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, this seems to be my spot for filming, and I actually just really like it because the lighting's natural. I have not had to pull out my lighting, my actual physical YouTube studio lighting at all in this house. Which is crazy actually if you think about it, because the lights come in from one side of the house and not necessarily the other, which is crazy. Anyway, that's not the point of this. All right, so a lot of you have actually requested this video, and it's, you know, for the sake of that, I'm not going to try to rush through it. You know, so I really want to give you guys, I think, some cozy content. So definitely prepare yourself. Grab a blanket, pop some popcorn, get a snack. This is a movie. This is you're going to the movie theater right now. And the irony is I'm showing you movies at the movie theater. Okay. So, let's go ahead and dive in. I think I want to go ahead and start off with what's in here. So, I tried to organize this into decades, if you will. So the first section is like 80s, and then 90s, and then so on and so on. But really, I just wanted to get like my 80s organized because I felt like they were floating all over the place. And that's typically how I will grab for movies. If you're new to my vlogs, I absolutely love the 80s. Everything about it. I was born in the 80s. I was born in the early 80s. I was a child in the 80s. Does that make sense? Yeah, because I mean, you could have been born in 1989, but were you a child in the 80s? No, you were a child in the 90s, but where is this going? I was born in 81, and so I'm just completely obsessed, and 9 out of 10 times, and sometimes 10 out of 10 times, I will watch an 80s movie. It just makes me feel good, makes me feel comforted, and it's, yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of come up close. Actually, I'm just gonna take them out because I feel like holding this is gonna be a whole thing. The first one is Xanadu, but I feel like, was Xanadu 70s or 80s? I feel like Xanadu was 70s. And if you have not seen Xanadu, you have, I don't know. I've never known, I don't know what to say. Xanadu is absolutely everything. And the roller skating, the whole Greek god kind of concept, Olivia Newton-John. I'm obsessed with it. My favorite part is when they take like his style and then her style into the club and like mix the two worlds, like the rock and roll and like the older school, and the song that they get out of it and the beat that they get out of it. I'm obsessed. As a matter of fact, fun fact, the first time I watched this, I was like a young teen, and I was so obsessed with some of their outfits that I started sketching like my own little outfits, like fashion illustrations, and got all into that. And I had roller skates, and I would roller skate in my garage because, you know, your garage has like that smooth surface. I would just roller skate and thought I was everything. The next one is Parent Trap. This is definitely not 80s, right? This is, I don't even know what year this was, but it's Parent Trap 1 and 2. And if you didn't know, when she's older, which I think when she's older, it is the 80s, where she plays the mom. So if you didn't know, there's a Parent Trap Part 2. Then they did a retake of Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan, but this has the original girl, which I love her, but her name is escaping me, and I'm obsessed with all of her movies, and you'll see that through here. But why is her name escaping me? Anyway, I'm not gonna get stuck on this stuff. I'm sure it'll come to me. The next one is a staple. Now that you know that I'm obsessed with the 80s, and I feel like you're gonna get a really good sense of my movie taste through this collection, and you can't have this collection without 9 to 5. You cannot. And I only recently, and by recently I mean I think I first saw this movie in my early 30s, and the trio of them, oh my gosh, they are freaking hilarious. Jane Fonda, right? Lily Tomlin, and country star. I'm completely blanking out, and I'm really sorry. And she's a huge Dolly Parton. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna get stuck again on actresses, but this movie is absolutely fantastic. It's about how women are starting to go back into the workforce and things like that. So, and they do some crazy stuff to their boss, and it's fantastic. So if you've never seen 9 to 5, write this down, which, by the way, grab a notebook or something and write down, because I will tell you, I mean, honestly, I feel like every movie I'm going to show you, you need to at least watch once. Sleepless in Seattle, I really just don't know if many people have not even seen this, but Meg Ryan, she was such a big deal, and I wish that she was still doing the same kind of movies. But Sleepless in Seattle is a must. I love the whole concept of her falling in love with Tom Hanks through a radio show, and then them, like, their worlds kind of colliding. It's awesome. Mr. Mom. Not gonna have my collection without Mr. Mom. This is hilarious. I absolutely love Michael Keaton, and that's another way that I build my collection is when I fall in love with an actor in like one movie, I will then go on IMDb and I will see everything else that they've done, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen that movie, I've never seen that movie. And then what I'll do is I'll go to my Netflix account and see if I can order it through their DVD system so that I can watch it. If I end up loving it, then I buy it. That's kind of how I do things. So Michael Keaton is, I love so much of his work, and he basically gets laid off and the wife goes back to work. Oh my god, and when he gets into that plaid shirt and he starts watching soap operas, they did a really good job of turning him into a housewife. It's really, really good. This next one doesn't have a photo. It's like the kind that's written around here, and it is Valley Girl. Valley Girl is just a classic 80s movie that I think that if you are interested in that era, you have to watch Valley Girls. It was actually Nicolas Cage's very first movie, and it's just about rich Valley girls, and he's just kind of, you know, off the cuff, edgy, and doesn't have money, and the two worlds collide, you know, that whole thing. It's very, you know, it's a different take of Can't Buy Me Love, but not really. But just kind of like, really in terms of relationships or people being from different worlds, I guess. So Valley Girl is really cute. It's a must. And the girl that's in it is also in a movie called My Chauffeur, which I don't own that, and Prime just took it off of the Prime for free, but My Chauffeur is fantastic. I'm obsessed. I literally watched that movie probably 80 times in March, and that might be a low number. Yeah. Okay. Oh my god, Christmas. Honestly, I actually have holiday movies separated, and this should be in a box, but for whatever reason, it was in here. But Christmas Vacation. If you have not seen Christmas Vacation, I really don't know what to say, but it is just that classic American family situation where what will go wrong, what can go wrong will go wrong, and it's everything. When Harry Met Sally. There are also movies, I love to I also watch movies based off of season and sometimes even weather. So for example, When Harry Met Sally is something that I would watch in the fall because a lot of When Harry Met Sally has that fall aspect, even though they go through like multiple seasons in this movie. But like Goonies I will watch based off of the weather, not necessarily based off of the season. But because Goonies has that rainy quality, so whenever it like rains or thunderstorms here, Goonies the first movie to go in. Does anyone else watch movies based off of season and weather? So When Harry Met Sally, if you've not watched this, this is a classic. It truly is a classic. I don't even think it's like my own opinion. I mean, When Harry Met Sally, and it's about two friends that end up, you know, figuring out feelings for each other. So good. Okay, She's Out of Control. Actually, I think I have the box for this, so I will show you guys that in a minute. So I'm gonna just set that one aside because I want you to see what the box looks like. Here's another movie, but I feel like it's either late 80s or early 90s, but House Sitter. When I first watched this movie, I fell in love, and it is just one of my staples. House Sitter has Goldie Hawn and Steve Martin, and I love them as a freaking duo. And she's kind of a con artist of sorts. She's just in survival mode, really, and she plays like this waitress, and she hooks up with Steve Martin, and he basically tells her that he built this house for this girl that didn't want the house. And so then the next day she's kind of like, there's a house just sitting there and no one's living in it? I'm gonna go live in it. And so she makes her way to this little town called Dobbs Mill, and she just befriends his parents. She gets that whole house furnished. She gets a damn dog. It's everything. And then Steve Martin shows up and he's like, what are you doing? But then he gets in on all of like the lies that she's told, and it's a top for me. It is a top movie for me. Goonies, House Sitter, it's all up there. Johnny Dangerously. So this has, is it Tom Hanks? No, I'm not remembering. Johnny Dangerously, I've actually not watched enough to even give you guys any like good feedback, so I actually need to watch this. But this is another classic example of I bought this because of the actor that was in it. And I think I have the box too, so I'm gonna set that one aside. The Burbs. The freaking Burbs. This has Tom Hanks. It has his, is his wife? No, not Rita Wilson. His wife is Rita Wilson in real life, but I forget who plays his wife. But anyway, it's just, and it's funny because sometimes like we'll be in the neighborhood and we'll see like that one lawn that just isn't kept, and we'll be like, that's the Burbs, or we'll be like the Klopeks. But this is such a great movie, and I love watching this in the fall for some reason. I don't know why, but because I think it's kind of a summer movie, maybe, but I definitely prefer watching this in the fall. And this, you need to write this one on your list if you've never seen it. Ruthless People. This has Bette Midler. Do I even need to say anything else? Obviously there's not a picture. I have the box. I have all the boxes to everything, but Ruthless People is so good. She has so much money, and she basically gets kidnapped by a couple, a guy and a girl. And it's about how they are trying to get money out of her husband, and he's just not, he doesn't care because he's not really the one with the money. And so it's just a really good movie. If you've never seen Ruthless People, write that one on your list. Can't Buy Me Love. Dr. McDreamy's in it, Patrick Dempsey. There's so many classic 80s actors and actresses that are in this movie that were in a ton of other 80s movies, so you can definitely tell who was kind of like popular back then. And Can't Buy Me Love, oh my god, they've even done a remake of this movie actually in the 90s, maybe early 2000s. Do I want to say Nick Cannon is in it? I really don't know if that's right or not. But Can't Buy Me Love is basically about the nerdy boy and the popular girl, and he helps her out, and in payment back, she agrees to make him popular. It's a good one. This next movie is Batman, but there's no picture, but this is the Batman with Michael Keaton. I am not a fan of the darker style Batmans, the ones that are more serious, just because I used to read the Batman comics as a kid, and it had that dark quality, but it also had that twisted humor and fun and adventure. And I feel like a lot of the Batmans that they keep doing, they're trying to make it so serious, and the Joker's so serious. And this Batman, where Jack Nicholson is Joker, is everything. And not one Batman can come close to this. And Michael Keaton as Batman, his voice, everything, this is the true Batman for me, and that's just my opinion. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Oh my gosh, such a good movie. It's about con artist. And recently, I didn't even know that I had done this, but I ordered a movie from Netflix, and it had it's called The Hustle with Anne Hathaway. And as I was watching this, I was like, this is Dirty Rotten Scoundrel, just exactly. So The Hustle is in a remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrel. And I even think that Dirty Rotten Scoundrel isn't the original. I think there was one before it, and this was another twist to it. So just something that you guys should probably know, this always blew me away, but if you think that the new movies are originals, no, sometimes they've gotten them from like really old school movies. I feel like Hellcat was, what is Hellcat? I feel like Hellcat was kind of like Mean Girls, but I don't know, I'm diving off. But Money Pit, I'm sure a lot of you know this one. You've got Tom Hanks, Shelley Long, love Shelley Long. That's another one. Any movie that Shelley Long does, like, I want to own. You'll see that. The one I don't own is called Hello Again, where she chokes on the chicken bone thing. I need to own Hello Again. But Money Pit is about just the house being a lemon. It's really cute. Funny Farm. You don't own Funny Farm, and you're into 80s and 90s, I don't know what you're doing. Funny Farm has Chevy Chase in it, and he's also another top favorite actor. And him and his wife moved to the country, and they moved to a really unique town, and it's hilarious. It's a must, and I watch Funny Farm typically fall, winter. This one is called Big. Has Tom Hanks. It's a classic in my opinion. It is such a feel-good movie, and it's, yeah, I feel like I probably shouldn't describe every single video or every single movie, because I'm already at 19 minutes. 16 Candles. It's a classic. It's a must. It's just like Pretty in Pink. 16 Candles is, and you've got John Hughes, right? John Hughes was genius. And fun fact about him, but he loved doing all of his movies in actual real neighborhoods and real houses, because he wanted that authentic American lifestyle in his movies. Like Home Alone, for example. Home Alone, that was a real house. You know, it wasn't a stage, it wasn't Hollywood kind of thing. So was 16 Candles. Clue. Of course I own Clue. I watch it all the time, and Clue is another one of those movies that I watch either at night or during a rainy thunderstorm kind of day. Clue's typically not a movie that I will watch during the daytime, just because it has that dark setting, and it's everything. And it's actually a take on this movie, Murder by Death, which, by the way, is on Amazon Prime. So if you don't own this, this is on Amazon Prime. But you think that Clue was the first in its time to do something? No, Clue definitely was a spin of Murder by Death. And Mrs. Peacock is in this when she was super young. Eileen Brenneman, I think that's her name. Unfortunately, she passed away, and that makes me really sad. But Murder by Death, you should go see how gorgeous and young Miss Peacock was in this. But if you love Clue and you just need more, you gotta watch this. I have seen Knives Out. It was a modern day Clue, but Clue's just so untouchable. It's just hard to come close to such a classic. But if you want something that came before Clue, Murder by Death, folks, is what you need to add to your list. I have Volunteers. This is another situation where I got this based off of Tom Hanks. Oh my gosh, I know his name. Like, I don't just know it. I know it, but I'm drawing John Candy. So I've actually not watched this one enough either, so I need to watch it. The Great Outdoors. Hello, John Candy, Dan Aykroyd. Put this on your list if you've never watched yourself The Great Outdoors. It's just the family goes on a camping mountain type vacation, and the brother-in-law, who's Dan Aykroyd, shows up, and it has a really good twist to it, a really good like family moment. It is super hilarious. You will be in stitches. And this one, Great Outdoors, I typically watch in the summertime, and I watch, yeah, just basically summertime is my favorite time to watch it. Toys, Robin Williams. If you've never seen Toys, it also has Joan Cusack in it, and I love her. And this is such a cute movie. It's very unique. It has a Willy Wonka feel to it, in the sense that it's just kind of like a magical style movie, and Robin Williams is one of my favorite actors, and I love everything that he does. Okay, Scaramouche. This is another reason why I really love the idea of doing this video for you guys, because I feel like there's kind of a few movies you may not even know about, and Scaramouche is one of them. It's an older movie. I mean, it even has, I think, I don't know if that's Japanese writing or Vietnamese. I'm sorry, I just don't know what that is. But this is it's like an older classic, and it's such a good little classic movie. So if you love those older movies, and it's actually in color, by the way, and it's about how he falls for this girl right here, and yeah, I mean, he's with that girl, but he falls for this girl, and there's like sword fighting or like fencing or like whatever, and it's a good one. Definitely write that one down and watch it. You may love it. Love Potion number 9. If you don't have Love Potion number 9 in your collection, Sandra Bullock, and when she was super young, and it's a movie that I love to watch in February around Valentine's Day. Don't know why. Probably just from the word love, which is ridiculous. Overboard, Goldie Hawn, anything Goldie Hawn does, I love. They've also done a reboot of Overboard, which I thought that her daughter, Kate, would be the one doing it, but it was Anna Faris or whatever her name is. I don't know what her name is. I mentioned earlier Pretty in Pink. It's a classic. Baby Boom. It's a classic, which, by the way, they just released this on Amazon Prime, so definitely go watch it. I feel like I haven't even made a dent, and I've been talking for a while, so I'm just going to kind of flip through some of these quickly. Big Business, Bette Midler, Lily Tomlin. It's 2 sets of twins, but they were like switched at birth. Hilarious. Oh, my daughter and I do that every time. This one is The Witches, one of my daughter's favorites. This is one that I watch in the fall and Halloween, and if you have never watched The Witches, it's kind of gruesome with their faces, but overall it's pretty good. Private Benjamin. If you've never seen Private Benjamin, This has Goldie Hawn in it. She's like the rich girl, and somehow she's like, one of her marriages goes bad, and so she just kind of is feeling sorry for herself and accidentally enlists herself in the army, and that's all I'm gonna say. Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams. It's a classic. This one is Weekend at Bernie's Part 2, and I also have Weekend at Bernie's Part 1. I actually think both of them are fantastic. Weekend at Bernie's is a movie that I watch during the summertime because you can tell they're talking about how hot it is, they're at the beach, they're tropical in the second one. But let me tell you, Weekend at Bernie's Part 1 with the mobster's girlfriend, where she goes, Boiny, Boiny, just her Jersey-like accent. Iconic. I think she's so iconic and I'm obsessed with it. What About Bob? Bill Murray, it's another one, right? You've got Groundhog's Day. Anything that he does is so freaking good. Richard Dreyfuss, What About Bob is so good. He's basically a patient to Richard Dreyfuss, you know, because he's got like a lot of obsessive compulsive disorders, and he follows his doctor to his family's like vacation lake house, and then he makes the doctor go crazy. It's a good one. The Cutting Edge, I feel like we're getting into a lot of 90s at this point, but The Cutting Edge is an ice skating movie where a hockey player and an ice skater kind of collide. Nothing to Lose. This one is like an adventure money heist-ish type of situation. Martin Lawrence and Tim Robbins. Such a good duo. If you've never seen Nothing to Lose, it's really good and it's funny. It's like a comedy. Then I have Cutthroat Island, Gina Davis. Such a good one. They say that Cutthroat Island tanked and that it hurt her career, but I'm just like, what movie are people watching? Because I thought Cutthroat Island was fantastic. It's got that piratey, you know, thing, and I live for that. Uncle Buck, you know? Is that John Candy? You've got Home Alone kid in it. It is so good. It's a classic. You've got to watch Uncle Buck. He's basically the uncle who's kind of like eccentric and off the rail, and they have to leave the house, but have to leave the kids there, and they have no one else to watch the kids except Uncle Buck. And Uncle Buck comes in and saves the day, and it's really funny. Emma's not a favorite. I've watched it a time or two. It's got Gwyneth Paltrow in it. I think it's trying to be like on that pride. Why am I doing this? Like, you know, it's like got a take on Pride and Prejudice, but it's not a favorite. Home Alone 2, but we own all of them, 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if there's like a fourth, but Lost in New York is actually one of my favorites, and I only watch Home Alone during the holiday season. Goonies. Hello, I actually have multiple copies of this. I have it regular format, I have it in DVD format, I have another backup in here somewhere. Where are you? Yeah, it's somewhere in here, but I got another backup. I gotta have my Goonies. And then I've got Hunger Games. You know? I don't know if you're kind of seeing the theme of my style, but I typically like those cutesy type 80s movies. And I also do love adventure and thrillers, kind of like Hunger Games. So definitely love that. The Shooter. This is another one. I know I kind of have like weird genre style movies that I like, but I love anything that has like The Shooter's fantastic. I love anything that has like gun or marksman type movies. I love anything that has like sort of presidential involved, which honestly shocks me because I really just am not a fan of like politics, and I don't even like go there. But The Shooter with Mark Wahlberg is so good. It's really sad. There's parts in it I'm just like appalled by, and I don't like things that make me upset or but the rest of it's really good. One Night with the King. I feel like maybe some of you have not seen this, and it's supposed to be based off of a true story about I can't even, It's about a Jewish girl and how this king was supposed to take a new wife because the previous wife and queen that he had like disobeyed him or was like a rebel. And so him and his advisors like were forcing him, like, you need to take a new wife. And so it was kind of like a bachelor style thing. They brought in all the women from like this town, and he got to basically spend time with each of them. And they came in as a normal woman, but they would leave as actual princesses. He made them all princesses, but if he didn't choose them, only the one he chose would be queen. And she was a Jewish girl, and I think that was like, she had to hide that fact because there was, anyway, he falls in love with her, and their wedding day, and how it ends too, it's so good. Okay, we've got 13 going on 30, we've got Miss Congeniality, we've got 2 Weeks Notice, and National Treasure, which I only recently started getting into, this National Treasure. And honestly, because it kind of reminds me of Indiana Jones in the aspect of adventure. 2 Week Notice, anything with Sandra Bullock is so, so good. And then we've got some random stuff, Halloween Town 2, then there's Halloween Town High. Oh, love these. Love watching it for Halloween, October. Under the Tuscan Sun. I have to be in the mood for certain movies, but once that mood hits, I will watch it over and over and over and over until I play it too hard into the ground, and then I retire it for a little while. And I do the same thing with Under the Tuscan Sun. I love the message of this movie. Just the message of, being a woman and being hurt and betrayed, but her taking control of her life and changing it and creating something new for herself. I love Under the Tuscan Sun, and also the fact, that that's where my family came from, is Tuscany, Rome, and etc. Then you've got all the Twilights, Breaking Dawn. Like, hello, I was always Team Cullen. I don't know, I think it was because I read the books, but people being Team Jacob, I'm like, you must have not read the books. 27 Dresses, that's another good one. The thing about her is I've heard things like she's a really hard actress to work with, and it just kind of like puts you off a little bit. I think maybe she got maybe a little full of herself, because she was on fire there for a minute, wasn't she? She was just in so many movies. Knocked Up, Monster-in-Law. J-Lo is not in enough movies for me. I think she is fantastic. Monster-in-Law is a good one. Confessions of a Sociopathic Social Climber. It's got Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's got some raunchy parts in it, I'm gonna tell you that, but I just love it for like her style, but overall it's just kind of one of those like, it's not like the best movie you'll ever watch, but if you just feel like you've watched so many movies and you want something new, maybe give that one a go. Sabrina. Anything with Harrison Ford. Anything. And he has aged so well, and honestly, I hate saying it. I don't hate saying it. I prefer this Sabrina over the original with Audrey Hepburn. Underworld. Love Underworld, the vampire, lichen, werewolf thing. Obsessed. I've got Bad Boys. Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys 1. Ocean's 13. Bank heist movies. Love that stuff. Burlesque. You know what? I love watching it a time or two. I don't like to ever watch this on repeat that often. My daughter, it's more up my daughter's alley. In Her Shoes, it's another one. I don't know why I own this, to be honest. It's got Cameron Diaz in it. It's a good one, but it's one of those movies that I'll watch once, but that's it. Flight Plan. Sometimes I'll watch Flight Plan here and there. It's another one of those like thrillers kind of movies with Jodie Foster. I mean, Jodie Foster is fantastic. Pride and Prejudice. If you don't have this version with Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden, I think was his name, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. Breaking Dawn, all of the Twilight movies. I've got Santa Claus 3, but any Santa Claus. We've got the first one, the second one, the third one. Nanny Diaries. I'm not really a fan of the Nanny Diaries, to be honest. Definitely maybe. I watched this one the other day. It's a cute one. When he keeps the book and then he gives her the book. Oh, did that sound like a contradiction? When he keeps the book but then he gives her the book? You'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. But oh my gosh, it kills me. And the fact that he keeps her name, her real name, throughout the whole story that he's telling to his daughter. Oh my god! Devil Wears Prada, come on. Come on, even I'm gonna own this movie. This is just everything. And you know what? I'm kind of disappointed because I think Meryl Streep, in person, she seems a little Looney Tune about politics, but you know what? I'm gonna put that aside because Devil Wears Prada is everything. Here's Santa Claus 3 again, but in a different format. We've got Bratz. We've got Gracie. Gracie is a very important movie to me because this is based off of a true story, and she is the reason why there are girl soccer teams. So if you've never seen this, and your kid loves soccer, you love soccer, this is how all of us women got a girls soccer league, because of her. Then there's Heartbreakers. You know, this also has like that spin on that con artist-y, Dirty Rotten Scoundrel. Love that. I've got Triple X in here. I've got Sex and the City. I've got 1 and 2, the movie. And I have The Wedding Planner with J-Lo. Mamma Mia. I don't really like Mamma Mia. It's not my thing, but my daughter is obsessed with it. She loves it, runs that movie to the ground. We've got Coach Carter. This is a heart tearjerker type movie because this is also based off of a true story. Yeah, it's so good. We've got The Grinch. Gotta have The Grinch. I got Sex and the City 2 over here, and then Eclipse. But like I said, I already own all of the Twilight movies. This first part is already long enough, so I'm gonna have to do a part 2. Yeah, I'm gonna have to split this up into a part 2. So part 2, we will look into this. We'll look into my TV series collections that I own, all of my Blu-rays, I've got some classics down here with Marilyn Monroe. Oh, they're so good. I absolutely love my movie collection. I hope that you guys loved it too. I just don't want to rush, and I feel like I was rushing there towards the end because I needed to make through this, but I also don't want an hour-long video, just because it'll be a nightmare to edit and upload. So for that purpose, I hope you understand, we're going to split this up into 2-parters, but that's it. Comment down below and let me know which movies out of this collection I share with you today that you wrote down on your list that you have not watched that you want to watch. And then once you watch it, come back here and tell me what you thought about it. But that's it for today's vlog. Part 2 will immediately follow, so I'm not going to make it wait, so it will be the vlog right after this. I'm going to continue filming, so I'll be wearing the same thing. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you for part 2.